2018 Lincoln Navigator car review. What hasn't changed regarding the 2018 Lincoln Navigator is, it's still gigantic. Lincoln lists the shortest and lightest version on this body-on-frame beast at 210.0 inches long, then one offensive tackle shy of 3 tons hefty. The long wheelbase Navigator L with all-wheel drive comes in at 221.9 inches and above 6,000 pounds. Ford builds some Super Duty pickups and commercial trucks which might be heavier, and during World War II it knocked out 4-engine B-24 bombers to defeat fascism. This isn't the greatest Ford product ever. But it sure isn't small. And, like Ford's F-Series light and heavy-duty pickups as well as the B-24, this new Navigator carries a body made mostly of aluminum. The switch from steel body construction saves about 200 pounds within the 2017 version, according to model, Lincoln says. And that's despite fractional development in most dimensions over its predecessor, that has been introduced in 2007. Still, 3 tons isn't lithe. And Lincoln has been doing nothing to minimize the thrill, 7 or 8-seat Navigator's epic scale. The grille remains massive, although it's now squarish using the recessed mesh of Lincoln logo-shaped holes backed by active shutters for aerodynamic efficiency. The rest of the person's body is still created to project an imposing presence wherever it's. It looks good in a very sleek and brutalist kind of way. Nonetheless, it may be impossible to produce a box this big look truly elegant. And an imposing presence is probably what Gator buyers want anyhow. Some elements present a contemporary appearance than before. The Navigator's sides are defined by a slick crease running slightly below the belt line that ties everything together, and black B and C pillars have the greenhouse look more unified. The whole thing appears less clunky and slab-sided compared to one we've grown used to seeing above the past decade. Still a big truck. Lincoln hasn't allowed this vehicle to devolve into a crossover regardless of the sort. There's the full steel ladder frame under everything aluminum, along with the suspension technique is more truck in concept than wimpy car. This will not be quite the easy job of slapping an SUV body atop a pickup truck chassis, though, since the Navigator, and its blue-collar sibling, the Ford Expedition, adopted independent rear suspension back 2003. The nose rides on massive control arms quite just like an F-150's, even so the rear employs a multi-link setup that offers better controlled ride motions and packaging advantages over its arch-rival, the Cadillac Escalade. That's right, almost 2 decades into the 21st century, and also the Escalade retains a solid log between its 2 rear wheels. Back in 2015, Lincoln replaced the Navigator's V8 engine with Ford's first-generation twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter V6. Lincoln doesn't utilize the Ford brand's EcoBoost label, however it's a version of the engine which is used in Ford trucks, such as the F-150 as well as the Expedition. In the Navigator, Lincoln has rated the modern V6 at 450 horsepower at 5,500 revolutions per minute and 510 lb-ft of torque at 3,000 revolutions per minute, a similar output a few.5 generates from the mighty F-150 Raptor. That's 70 horsepower and 50 lb-ft greater than was created by the similar engine inside 2017 Navigator, with both peaks coming 250 revolutions per minute over before. In normal use, however, the V6 won't operate near 5,500 revolutions per minute. The sole transmission offered may be the 10-speed automatic co-developed with General Motors and in addition used in other Ford trucks along with cars, for example the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 plus the 2018 Ford Mustang. The point of a transmission, because there are many gears, is usually to keep the engine running as slowly as you can at all times. Minimizing revs reduces fuel consumption. 3-ton trucks don't have much else doing work in their favor, economy-wise. As it truly is. The revolutionary Navigator merits an EPA city fuel economy of 16 miles per gallon, that's with either a wheelbase and either 2- or 4-wheel drive. The EPA estimates 23 miles per gallon on the streets for the conventional 122.5-inch wheelbase rear driver, dropping to 21 with all-wheel drive. The rear and all-wheel drive L models that has a 131.6-inch wheelbase are highway rated at 22 and 21 miles per gallon. Our experiences with Ford EcoBoost engines temper our faith that this EPA numbers is usually matched by ordinary drivers. Any trace of aggression in throttle application sucks fuel. The 2018 Navigator comes in 4 trim levels starting from the short wheelbase, rear-wheel drive $73,250 Premier, which rides on 20-inch wheels, throughout the Select and Reserve models on 22s, approximately the Black Label, that also gets 22s. An all-wheel drive, long wheelbase Black Label L starts at $98,100. Hit your options list aggressively and also a Black Label L will easily vault past $100,000. Like General Motors, then, Ford doesn't seem shy about asking the identical money you'd purchase a Mercedes-Benz GLS 450. Luxury doled outside in increments. The Navigator's interior decor is paying homage to a Hilton Garden Inn with the Premier level. Gets type of Marriott-like because you rise into Select and Reserve trims, then goes all Ritz-Carlton at Black Label. The design itself feels a little bit trapped between traditional luxury cues, thick bolstered seats and wood trim for most models, and also the emerging minimalism of touchscreens from the Center for Entertainment Systems and another screen containing the speedometer and vehicle monitors while watching driver. The speedometer seems as a subdued ghost resistant to the screen's black plane, illuminating the few numbers across the vehicle's speed. Then again, there might be other ways to configure the instrumentation we didn't have enough to explore during our initial drive. There are depths for the technology which will push the training curve beyond a number of hours exposure. In the lower level models, the wood veneer is impeccable. Much in the wood grain emanates from single items of tree, plus the gloss, and it looks rich and deep. But leather quality is different from surface to surface, along with the door panels are topped using a vinyl wrap that feels cheap. Only the Black Label turns into a true leather wrap atop that surface. All things in that truck feels a notch higher. Of course, all kinds of screen-based entertainment systems can be found. And there's an onboard Wi-Fi network copied with fast-charging USB ports to maintain everyone's devices on full zap. But the most lavish choices are 30-way adjustable seats which include heating, cooling, and massage functions. The first 2018 Black Label that somebody totals within a crash, we're swiping leading seats from it and putting them before the 70-inch big screen TV down inside our basement. 7 or 8 people can fully stretch comfortably inside a Navigator regardless of what the wheelbase. But, whether furnished with a standard bench or perhaps the optional captain's chairs inside second row, the extended L models offer both better access to your third row and enough room behind it to really carry 8 people's price of stuff, too. Beyond that, the second and third row seats fold with the touch of rear-mounted switches to make a flat load space. "I could sleep back there," one journalist said enthusiastically on the launch event. "We can be going from a limb here, but we that is amazing people who are able new Navigators don't should sleep in the individual." An object in motion. press a symptom button plus the twin-turbo V6 settles into a virtually silent idle. Blip the throttle and there's a satisfying rasp from your exhaust, but it really is subdued and unobtrusive. Gear selection is accomplished, which has a series of large buttons under the center LCD screen. Those buttons are integrated into the dash within a way that make them simple to overlook to start with, but acclimation comes quickly. What is pretty obvious is which the V6 is nearly as responsive here as it is within the F-150 Raptor. The Navigator could be massive, but it really moves like Dick Butkus in the heyday. The last jumbo Lincoln SUV that CD tested would have been a 2016 Navigator L4x4 built with the 380 horsepower version with the twin-turbo V6 along with a 6-speed automatic transmission. It hit 60 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds and ran the quarter mile in 14.9 seconds at 92 miles per hour. That's steaming for the truck that weighed in at 6,361 pounds. The 2018 version is lighter, has more power plus more gears, and will be a little quicker. We'll need to wait until we are to test anyone to see if it could break in the high fives from the 60 miles per hour dash, as can an Escalade or even a Mercedes GLS 450. We think it would do better than that, actually. Every vehicle on this rarefied category carries enough technology to regulate the Department of Veterans Affairs and has now climate controls heightened than those with the Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium. What the Navigator has working most to its advantage is the pace well it drives. The steering is precise or even particularly communicative, the suspension is aided by a fantastic roll stability system, plus the adaptive dampers entirely on higher trim versions work great. The big 285/45R22 tires stay planted, twatch to pavement, even though the truck is diving into corners such as a 3-ton Mustang GT. With running boards simply modest ground clearance, the Navigator will not be built for extreme off-road duty. However, if it comes to pulling a horse trailer beyond a muddy paddock, it will deliver the results. While the rest with the Lincoln line was being renamed with some other letters, the Navigator remained a Navigator. Now there's a Continental, too. Those model names are most likely stronger lures for buyers than will be the Lincoln mark itself after all this, just like Escalade carries more importance than Cadillac. It's fair to believe that this big, ridiculously comfortable truck has become the profitable things how the Ford Motor Company builds. It was overdue for replacement. And the automaker didn't screw it up.